You're sitting there, trying to look calm, while your doctor reads your biopsy report like it's a restaurant menu you didn't ask for. Then you hear it. Your Gleason score is 7, and your brain instantly tries to translate that number into a life story. Is 7 good? Is 7 bad? Is 7 I should cancel my vacation? Then the doctor says one more thing that flips the whole mood. It's 3 plus 4. Or it's 4 plus 3. And suddenly you're thinking, hold on, both are 7. How can the same total score feel like two different planets? Because it can. The order of those numbers matters because the first number is the pattern that shows up most often in the biopsy tissue. And men with 3 plus 4 equals 7 tend to do better than men with 4 plus 3 equals 7, even though both are 7. Today, I'll explain Gleason in a way that's actually useful so you can have a smarter conversation with your doctor and avoid the classic 2 a.m. doom scroll spiral. We'll cover what Gleason actually measures, why pattern 4 is a bigger deal than people realize, the grade group translation, what research shows about outcomes, and the exact questions to ask next so you leave with a plan. Quick disclaimer, this is educational content only, not medical advice. Always discuss your specific situation with your urologist. All right, let's decode the most confusing 7 in men's health. First, Gleason is about grade, not stage. Grade is how aggressive the cancer cells look under a microscope, how abnormal the architecture looks. Stage is where the cancer is in the body localized versus outside the prostate. So if you hear Gleason 7, it does not automatically mean it's spread. It means we're learning how this cancer tends to behave. Now here's the key mechanic. Prostate cancer often contains more than one growth pattern. Pathologists identify the 2 most common patterns in the sample and add them. Primary pattern most common plus secondary pattern next most common. That's why you'll see it written like 3 plus 4 equals 7 or 4 plus 3 equals 7. And because the first number is the majority pattern, the order matters. If that's all you remember from this entire video, you'll already be ahead of most people. You don't need pathology school, you need the big idea. In general, pattern 3 looks more organized and tends to act less aggressively than higher patterns. Pattern 4 looks more irregular and tends to be more aggressive than pattern 3. That's why a Gleason 7 is split into 2 categories, because how much pattern 4 is present changes risk. Think of it like this. If you're judging a movie, the total score matters, but the genre matters too. A 7 comedy and a 7 horror aren't the same experience. Same total, different reality. Now the main question. 3 plus 4 versus 4 plus 3. Gleason 3 plus 4 equals 7 means pattern 3 is dominant, with some pattern 4 mixed in. In many educational sources, this is considered the more favorable type of Gleason 7 because the less aggressive pattern makes up most of what was seen. Gleason 4 plus 3 equals 7 means pattern 4 is dominant, the more aggressive architecture is the majority pattern. Major cancer education sources put it clearly. Men with 3 plus 4 equals 7 tend to do better than those with 4 plus 3 equals 7, even though both are intermediate grade. So the simplest possible takeaway is 3 plus 4 is usually the better 7. 4 plus 3 is usually the more serious 7, not because we're guessing, because real-world outcomes differ. You might hear people dismiss this like, it's still a 7, but research has repeatedly shown that 4 plus 3 behaves worse than 3 plus 4. Important nuance. These studies describe population-level trends. They don't predict any single person's future, but they do confirm why doctors treat 3 plus 4 and 4 plus 3 differently. To reduce confusion, pathology moved toward a simpler scale called grade, groups 1 through 5. Here's the key mapping for today. Grade group 2 usually corresponds to Gleason 3 plus 4 equals 7. Grade group 3 usually corresponds to Gleason 4 plus 3 equals 7. So if your report says Gleason 7, ask this. Am I grade group 2 or grade group 3? Because grade group often communicates risk more cleanly for patients. Why does this change real-life decisions? The Gleason pattern influences what your doctor may recommend, especially around monitoring versus treating. And here's how it often plays out in real conversations. 3 plus 4, grade group 2, may sometimes be considered for surveillance in carefully selected cases, especially if other factors are favorable. Low tumor volume, reassuring MRI, lower PSA density, fewer positive cores. 4 plus 3, grade group 3, more often pushes the conversation toward treatment because pattern 4 dominates. Again, this isn't a rule you apply to yourself in isolation. It's one piece of a bigger risk picture. Here's the hidden variable most patients never hear about. How much pattern 4? 2 men can both be 3 plus 4, but one might have a tiny amount of pattern 4 and another might have a lot more. That difference can matter. So here's a powerful question. Do we know my percent pattern 4? Not every report includes it, but if it does, it can help refine risk within Gleason 7. And Gleason is not the whole story. Doctors often combine PSA level, and sometimes PSA density, MRI findings, number of biopsy cores positive, and percent involvement, whether there's any mention of pattern 5, and clinical stage. So don't let your brain do this. I'm a 7, therefore my future is fixed. No. You're a whole person with multiple data points, and the plan is built from the full set. Let's make it concrete. Scenario A, the manageable 7. Report, 3 plus 4 equals 7. Grade group 2. Few positive cores. Low involvement. MRI doesn't show a large aggressive lesion. Result, the conversation may include options like monitoring closely versus treating now depending on the full picture. Scenario B, the watch it closely 7. Report, 4 plus 3 equals 7. Grade group 3. More cores positive, higher involvement. MRI shows a more concerning target. Result, the conversation often leans toward treatment sooner because dominant pattern 4 suggests higher aggressiveness. Same total score. Different tone. Different urgency. That's the entire point of today's video. If you want to sound confident, not confrontational at your next appointment, ask these. Am I 3 plus 4 or 4 plus 3? And what grade group is that? How many cores were positive and what percent was involved? Do I have any pattern 5 mentioned anywhere, even a small amount? Do we know my percent pattern 4? Based on PSA, MRI, and biopsy details, am I favorable or unfavorable intermediate risk? What are my reasonable options now and what are the trade-offs? If you ask these, you stop being a passenger in the process. You become a partner. Let's land the plane. Gleason is a grading system based on how prostate cancer looks under the microscope, and it helps estimate how fast it might grow. The Gleason score uses 2 patterns, and the first number is the most common pattern, which is why 3 plus 4 and 4 plus 3 aren't the same, even though both total 7. Evidence and major cancer education sources agree. 3 plus 4 generally has better outcomes than 4 plus 3. Grade groups make this clearer. Grade group 2 equals 3 plus 4, grade group 3 equals 4 plus 3. And the grade group system was built and validated using large patient datasets. And finally, percent pattern 4 and other clinical details can further refine risk within Gleason 7. Now, if this video made your brain feel like it tried to read a biology textbook while riding a roller coaster, congratulations! That's the normal human response to prostate cancer grading. But the goal isn't to memorize pathology. The goal is to walk into your appointment with the right questions so you're not relying on internet strangers who think every symptom is either nothing or the end of civilization. If this helped you feel calmer and more in control, subscribe to Nourish today, where we turn confusing medical language into simple next steps, with fewer panic spirals and slightly more sleep. Legal disclaimer: this content is for education only and is not medical advice. It does not replace care from your physician. Please discuss your individual case with a qualified urologist. See you in the next one.
Thanks for watching. Stay informed, stay calm. Subscribe for calm, evidence-based health here on Nourish Today.